Hi, my name is John Crump. I'm an investigative journalist with MLN.com. I have been covering the situation surrounding JFC Supply, FOAC, Eagle Arms, and Representative Amin Brown, in addition to the AG of Pennsylvania, Shapiro. I am here to say I have talked to JFD Supply on the record and released a phone call from them. I've talked to Kim Stouffer, president of FOAC, and released his phone call. And now I am releasing the phone call between me and Amin Brown. I'm releasing the unedited version for transparency. You can listen to it and you can make up your own mind. With that said, let's go ahead and listen to the phone call.
I have a 5 and a 6-year-old, so I know exactly what you're going through.
Yeah, they mess everything up. I have a couple questions for you. Like I say, I don't do hit interviews or anything like that, but I just have a couple questions.
I don't even know what that is.
A hit interview, basically, it's a bunch of gotcha questions where what I want to do is I want to get your opinion on certain things, and I deal in facts. So I don't, when I do my reporting, I don't put my own beliefs in there. But I do ask tough questions. But I have a couple questions for you. Would you mind going on record?
Well, it depends what the questions are. If you want clarity on what actually happened, so you know what went down and who was involved and who was not. I just don't want something being put out there and then it causes issues for a population of people. So, but I'll tell you straight answers, but I don't know what are you trying to do with the information?
Get it out to the people who might not have clarity on it and have different opinions on what happened and wrong opinions, or they think the wrong thing.
So clarity to, so you want to clarify the situation. Then do you believe that some of the wrong information probably got out there, and then that's what was spread?
I believe that the truth is usually somewhere in the middle, and wrong information always gets disseminated, and also wrong information sometimes gets like propagandized, I guess you can say.
Got you. So would you like me to start with telling you from what happened from start to finish, or would you like to ask me questions?
No. You can go ahead and tell me what happened to start to finish. I'm gonna have some questions in there, but this is basically for you to get out your side, because from what I've read and the people I've talked to, you're not a bad guy. So I'm half decent guy, and I love guns. Yeah. I'm not trying to take nobody's guns away. Yeah. You know what I mean? So. I would like to record it, because what I do for fairness is I put all the raw audio out there. That way people can't accuse me of doing selective editing or anything like that. So it will be available to you. It will be available to me for any use.
Yeah. So I don't, I don't. So I have never been recorded before, and I just don't I'm new to all of this, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not doing gotcha questions, and the recording is basic. Okay, you know how there's certain media organizations out there that will selectively edit stuff. I don't do that. If you look at my YouTube channel, where I post everything to, it's saying this is a conversation between this person and that person. There's no, this person's wrong, this person's crazy. It's basically conversation with this person about this, and that's it. That's the only thing in the descriptions. You can look through all my videos and you can see that. I'm known in the industry for leaving it up to the people to decide. And trying to get to the real information, the actual information, and not conjecture or one thing I like. You can ask him. One thing I've always told them, I don't deal in circumstantial evidence or, assumptions or anything like that. I care about the facts.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Yeah,
facts is
and
the only thing that I care about. And I think that's what needs to get out to the people. My opinion on these issues should not matter to anyone out there. It should be only what is the truth. And right now, a lot of people in the gun world are looking at you as a Lex Luthor type person. So
yes, please. You said a Lex Luthor type person. What is that?
Like a person working behind the scene, like a villain to the gun world.
Oh, like I'm attacking the gun world.
Yeah. So basically, what I want to do is get your opinion out there. I might not agree with everything, but your voice will get out there unedited, and people can decide for themselves.
All right. So look. I'll do this. You can record, and as long as I feel comfortable with what the conversation was about, I'll approve you using it or not.
All right, that works for me. Like I said, I'm not trying to do a gotcha thing. And also, I'm in the state of Virginia, which is like a one-party consent state. So if I really wanted to do a gotcha, I wouldn't even like say, "Hey, that's cool." I would just put it up. So
no, I got you.
So my intentions is just to get to the truth.
Understood.
All right. So why don't you start and tell me what happened?
Yeah. So I have legislation. On the way. That's currently being worked on. That's going to be tailored and 100% geared toward a repeat offender of violent crime that involves firearms, right? So basically, convicted felons having firearms on them and committing crimes repeatedly, right? So,
okay,
I dropped a memo a few weeks ago, on actually March 1st, when my city was up to 77 murders on March 1st. So you're talking about 2 months into the new year, we're already at 77 murders, which to date, we are at like 108.
Okay.
So from March 1st to now, which is the 21st, we are at like 108 or 107 murders in my city. So memo drops, and I reach out to, I get in contact with some folks in the AG's office about a task force, gun violence task force. I hate that phrase, gun violence, because that's a whole nother story. So the gun violence task force through the AG's office, we meet about my district and the violence in my district, or I'll say crime in my district. That then goes to an invitation to the gun show where they have their thing going on. And so next day, I'm at the Morgantown show. I meet up with my folks from the AG's office, and I see what's going on. And I'm like, wow, this can't be real. And the issue was, for me, not the sale of the kits. It was how accessible they were to any and everybody, including criminals.
How would you like to have them sold?
So let me finish the story first.
Okay.
So my issue was, because I walked up to the table with a mask on and a hood on, and I would have been able to purchase any amount of kits I wanted and did whatever I wanted to do with them. The person in line before me just purchased 2 duffel bags of these kits. 2 entire duffel bags. One person, right? He pays cash and he leaves. I don't know where he went. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But that was enough for me to see. And these were complete kits, everything except for the magazine. So then I leave hours later, and I'm like, something needs to be done. I was put in contact with the owner. I was introduced to the owner through one of the people from the AG's office, introduced me to, his name, and
Joel.
him and I are, yeah. So him and I, we're talking. Well, we talk later, the next day, and then the dialogue starts about the accessibility for anybody being able to just get into the show and purchase these kits, because I know firsthand what kind of guns are showing up on these crime scenes in my community. So dialogue going back and forth, we're bouncing ideas off about, how about, after they pay to get in, you just make a copy of an ID and then shred it, because deterrents do work. So if I'm a criminal and I'm going to this said show to purchase a kit or kits, if you ask me for ID, I'm not giving it to you. I'm turning around. So it started there. And then the conversation went to, well, if it's that bad, how about we just stop the sale of them at the shows? 2 days later, there was a press release because of the great work at the AG's office. They did a sting or a raid at an address in Philadelphia where they recovered some of the kits that were purchased in Morgantown, the Morgantown show. So from there, it's a full press release about the work that was done. They got some of the kits off the street, but it wasn't the amount of kits that was purchased, where the surveillance showed that it was X amount. And by the time they got to the house a few days later, it was about 6 of the kits left, but they were already put together. And there was a testing firing range in the basement. So from there, Joel and I get on the phone again, and he sees that, and we're talking about it, and he's like, yeah, this coming weekend, I'm not doing the kits for sure, because this is a lot, something is going to, he just didn't want to be tied to the nonsense, which I completely agree with. He doesn't deserve to be tied to that, but we don't know what was going to happen. So then somebody from his camp reaches out to the AG's office and say, we're not going to sell these kits anymore. We're not going to allow polymer 80s at the show moving forward. Great thing, right? Because I know where these where some of these things end up. I know people who actually do the wrong thing and resell, which they're not supposed to. So I'm excited. AG's office gets involved because they were contacted about, the agreement. Then the following Friday, we're having just a gun safety meeting. Gun safety and how we're going to plan to move forward. And then that weekend, the following Monday, there was another press conference about announcement of no longer sales of these polymer 80 kits. The whole idea and the reason behind stopping the sale was for one thing only: the accessibility to anybody and possible criminals, because criminals were abusing the process. So the intentions were to change the process. Nothing about introducing laws, nothing about, trying to solve all the problems with legislation. They had nothing to do with any of this. This was an idea to slow down the accessibility. It is not a ban on the polymer 80 kits. It was all about accessibility. So that turned into no more sales at his shows only. At Eagle Arms shows.
Okay.
Then people, once the announcement happened, some things might have been said that wasn't all factual from several different parties, but now is being looked at as Almond Brown or other electeds are trying to ban firearms. That ain't what I'm trying to do. My issue was accessibility of these kits to anybody, and I believe that was abused by criminals because they were doing the wrong thing. And what I didn't want was one bad apple to spoil the bunch.
Okay.
That's why I started to reach out to Eagle Arms and to see how we can get this thing fixed.
Okay.
Yeah. So then Tim Stauffer, because him and I had a few conversations about my proposed legislation after I dropped the memo, because they believe, their organization, everyone knows it's called Firearm Owners Against Crime, and my bill is about crime, repeat offenders committing crime. So him and I started a dialogue, and then this whole thing with the cease of the sales at one particular show. He was at a show and was interviewed or whatever, and when they asked him the question, he said that he supports in-house executive decisions. That's what he supports, in-house executive decisions, because you don't want to be fighting the government. You don't want the government to decide what y'all do with your guns. He said, we dealt with it in-house so it doesn't get bad. All of the press that this thing received, once it went out there, started changing what actually happened. So what actually happened was an agreement between, or a conversation between myself and Eagle Arms, which I was introduced to them by the AG's office, thankfully. Then it turns into where we are now. And I am not a villain. I am not trying to take people's guns away, because my community in certain areas, we need our arms to defend ourselves. That's just what it is. So I wouldn't do something like that.
Yeah. Okay. I do have a few questions if you are willing to answer them, and none of them are gotcha questions, like I said. How would you like to have the P80s sold? In the conversation you talked about ID, and then you talked about banning them at sales. So how would you like to have them sold? ID at sales or just none at sales? Like gun shows. Sorry, that's it.
So P80s end up being full-fledged firearms, right?
If they're finished.
Yeah. After they're built properly, which everybody don't do them properly, I'm sure, right? So my thing is accessibility to criminals. So if there was a way that all the people that will be affected, or all the people who impact this world, come together and figure out a solution, so we don't have to go the legislative route, because everything doesn't need every issue doesn't need legislation to solve the problem, right? You agree with that?
I think most problems can be solved without legislation. Yes.
Cool. And that's what we thought we were doing with ceasing the sales at Eagle Arms.
Okay. Another question I have. In Pennsylvania, they do have a couple unfinished firearms, or what I think the AG refers to them as ghost gun bills, coming up. Are you supporting those bills?
Are you talking about SB 14 and 15?
Yeah, I think so. I don't have the exact names.
I haven't. I honestly haven't read all the language, but again, I am not against firearms.
So that means since you're not against firearms, you're not going to vote. You wouldn't vote for them, or
I don't want to take anybody's guns away.
all right. So you wouldn't vote for them then.
No, I would not vote for it.
All right. That's.
I just want the right processes in place so criminals don't have access.
And what would those
That's what I want.
processes be? Like
That ain't for me to decide. No,
Okay.
that is not for me to decide. That's for all parties involved to come up with a solution. That's what I'm about. I'm about problem solving. So we don't have to worry about certain entities coming down on people. Let's deal with it in-house. Let's have conversations and handle it the old school way. Because one thing we can't do, we can't take people's guns away. We just can't.
Okay.
Because you never know someone's circumstance. Like in my community, people need them to protect themselves. But then also in my community, people use them to commit crime because they were easily accessible in some way, shape, or form.
All right.
So I believe we all need to come together to solve this so we don't create enemies in the process.
You talked about.
So if that's going to be.
Okay, go ahead.
So that's going to be so if that's going to be the Second Amendment, folks, if it's going to be FOAC, if it's going to be GOA, if it's going to be the state legislators, if it's going to be state senators, let's all have a conversation to figure out how everyone can win and be happy instead of everybody going at each other.
All right.
Because it doesn't have to be that way.
All right.
If we take a few people from here, a few people from there, a few people from every group and organization and put everybody in a room and we talk about it. And then let's see, all right, well, listen, if we did this, how would this impact you? Or if we did that, how would this impact us?
Right. The person in
but
front
no
of
one knows any of that.
The person in front of you in the line that had the two duffel bags, was that person one of the people that they caught with them? Do you know if they were?
I don't
violent?
know.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. All right. Yeah, that's one of the questions I had because you went into the other story about the guys that got caught, and I wasn't sure if that guy was part of it or not.
Mm-hmm.
That would have made a hell of a story though if he was.
Well. I don't know. See, I don't know the dates and times when someone was called or who was under surveillance because I'm not a law enforcer. So, I'm not in law enforcement. So there's a possibility, I can figure it out if you need me to, but
no.
I don't know if it was or not.
Because of the possibility my neighbor could be an armed criminal too. But that's like I said, I deal in facts. So if we don't know, we'll just assume that we don't know. Instead of saying yes or no, we don't know. And that's perfect. That's perfectly an all right answer, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you talked to Joel about the stopping. When you talked to Joel, did you talk to him about the stopping of the sale of the kits or anything else like that?
You said when I talked to Joel.
Yeah, about the kits before he stopped the sale. Did you have anything? Okay.
Yeah, our conversation was about ceasing the sales. Yes.
Okay.
Or changing the process of the accessibility.
Okay. All right. Because Eagle Arms put out a statement saying that they didn't have any contact with anyone.
They said that they did not have any contact with anyone.
Correct.
Okay.
So now
But they also put out a statement saying that on certain articles like Penn Live that I was the originator of the conversation to cease the sale.
Exactly. I mean that's one of the things that confused me. They reached out behind the scenes to people at Guns and Gadgets on YouTube and all these YouTubers, and said they didn't. But on Penn Live, it said that they did. So I'm just trying to clarify which one it is because once you hear like some people saying they did, some people saying they didn't, I figure going to the source would be, Yeah,
and that's why I wish before people started going public with their opinions and thinking that they knew the facts, that all parties involved should have been reached out to.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So, like, no one reached out to me and said, hey, what actually happened? Nobody said that.
I left the message actually on, let's see where I can get you I'll get you the.
You probably called my office phone number.
Yeah. I did. And never got a call back. So
Yeah, because you left a voicemail and so did like 200 other people.
yeah, probably. But I was trying to get I was trying to get in touch with you. That's why I went the route of actually, doing some back end stuff. But yeah, it's a good conversation. What do you think about JSD Supply being back at the show?
If the correct process is in place, and if the right agreement is installed and people are following the agreement, because there's currently, not that I know of, not to my knowledge, any laws in place, then I'm completely fine with that. But I just want people to understand what's really going on out here in communities similar to mine.
Okay. The agreement is that the buyer has to sell. I mean, not to sell. They have to sign a piece of paper saying that they're over the age of 18, that they are not guilty of any felonies, or they're legally allowed to own guns, and they're not going to bring the kids back to anywhere that they are illegal.
Well, like, I don't know how far that will go, because if I have bad intentions and I wanna make money. So do you know the street value of these kits once they're put together and they're fireable?
From what I understand, I know that there was articles saying that they were $500 street value, but I'm hearing more like $1,500.
No. Yes. So these things on the street are going for $1,100 to $1,500.
See, I do my research.
Yeah. So they're $1,100 to $1,500. So if you have somebody doing 10 to 15 of those a week, you know what's going on. You know what kind of money is being made.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, do you think that the new agreement where they have to sign a paper saying that they are not a felon, they are over the age of 18, and they're not?
I don't agree with that process.
Okay, that's the process.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that process.
Okay, so you don't. Oh.
And from my knowledge, they're not back at the shows.
They are.
Oh, they are?
100%, yeah.
Okay, so you were there today in?
Well, no, they're back
in Lebanon with me
in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
The next show.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, that process I do not agree with. And I think that all parties involved who would be impacted need to be at the table before decisions are made.
What do you have to do with the show?
Because what we don't want. You said what?
What do you have to do with the show? What I saw is you and other people say it's private business can do whatever they want. If two private businesses come to an agreement, why would they need a? I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
No, and I get you.
Why would they need a politician there? Because that kind of goes against your, two private party can do whatever they want.
No, and a private party can do whatever they want. But my recommendation would be to do it slightly differently, because what you don't want is to fuel a flame and get a train rolling that you can't stop. That's what I'm saying. So it would be wise that people do that, so certain people don't take it as a slap in the face. Not saying me, but you just don't know how people would take things. And
like who would take it as a slap in the face?
I don't know. I can't speak for anybody. But if it was me, I would just have everybody involved in the conversation or part of the agreement, because you don't know who could be helpful.
But
there might be a way to put a system in place to make that process better than just a piece of paper being signed by somebody who gave you an ID saying that I promise not to sell this or shoot anybody.
Did you say that? Were you the one? I'm not sure. I think it was you that said a private business can make decisions. Or was that Kim?
No, I think that was Kim Stolfer.
Okay, yeah, okay. I was just wondering about that.
But I agree with that.
Then, okay, if you agree with that, for them, the private business can make a decision to ban them. But now you're saying that all parties should be at the table. Isn't that kind of hypocritical?
No, it's not hypocritical.
How so?
Because what I'm saying is that it would be wise to involve all parties.
Okay, so
because you don't want any issues.
So you're not saying that they should. You're just making a suggestion that they should.
Yeah, and that's why I said my recommendation, my suggestion would be to do that slightly differently. But I can't control that.
Okay.
What's done in house is done in house. But all I know is,
so it would be wise to avoid issues. What issues would those be?
You said, what issue would those be?
Yeah, you said it'd be wise to include all parties to avoid issues. What issues would those be?
Yeah, because you see what happened once people saw the headlines or found out the news, people started slapping it with legislation. That kind of stuff can be avoided.
Well, the legislation was introduced was written way before.
I'm not aware of that. I know when it was. Okay, so it was introduced on Friday, correct?
It was introduced on Friday, but it was written several months back.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I do my research, and I have people behind the scenes. I knew the first time I heard about this. The first time I heard about this, I'm an investigative journalist. The first time I heard about the ghost gun bills was, I think, like 2 or 3 months ago.
So do you agree that one bad apple could spoil the bunch?
As a reporter, it is not my job. Like I said before, I don't give my opinions. I ask hard questions, but what I think, it doesn't matter. And when I had JSD on, and when I interviewed JSD through the phone, I gave them the same hard question, not the same hard questions, but questions that are just as hard.
Well, I would like to get on the phone with JSD.
I would call. I mean, I can try to hook you up with those guys. I'm not involved with JSD.
Got you.
I just requested a phone call.
So before we end, I just want to be very clear. My actions and me putting my energy behind initiating the conversation to change the accessibility or cease the sales of these kits had nothing to do with the ban or stopping people from having access or the good people from having access to firearms. I get it. People want to build their own kits because that's their hobby. That's what they want to do. That's what gets them through their weekends after a rough week of work. I get it. I want people to be free and enjoy life. But what I don't want is for people with bad intentions to have easy access to these kits and then turn them into shootable firearms and kill innocent women and children like it has been doing every day in my district and in communities similar across the Commonwealth. Right. That's my only issue. So that's why my legislation is going to be geared toward these said criminals.
Okay.
Directly toward these criminals that's shooting up communities.
Okay. I think we killed the ghost gun thing, but you did say you're pro Second Amendment, so I want to ask you a couple Second Amendment questions, if that's okay.
Yeah. So. You saying that I'm pro Second Amendment?
No.
I understand that this language is all still new to me, but I'm not against guns.
You're not against guns.
Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, a couple questions. Do you believe in universal background checks?
I don't know exactly what that is. So I would have to look into that.
It basically means that anytime you buy a gun, no private sales. Like if you wanted to give a gun to your brother, you would have you would have to go to an FFL, which is a licensed dealer, and have them do the transfer.
Run it and do the transfer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay. How about gun registries?
Say it again?
Like a gun registration.
You got to, like I said, I don't know.
You have to
register
your firearm with the government.
Registering your firearm. So like when you purchase, you got to register it.
You have to register it with the government, so they know where it is.
I don't know too much about that, so I don't have an answer for that.
All right, and that's perfectly okay. I said if you didn't have any answers, that's okay. I'm just trying to get to see where you stand so people will know, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. So how about like a so-called assault weapons bans and magazine limitations? Either
magazine limitations and assault weapons bans?
Yeah, like banning AR-15s.
Banning AR-15.
And like any type of, are you for that or against that, or you don't have a stance on that right now?
Yeah, I don't have a stance on that. Like again, okay. I don't want to sound like a broken record.
No.
This whole world is new, and I don't know all the language. Like, listen, I just found out a few days ago with 2A men.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So so Second Amendment. Once I found out, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. How about magazine limitations, like limiting it to like under 10 rounds and under, or 15 rounds and under?
Yeah, so I guess I have a partial answer for that.
Okay.
So what I witnessed, and I really only like to speak on what I personally experienced and not what I read, and so probably like a handgun. So the manufacturing of these 50-round drum handgun clips, I don't see the need for them.
Well, they're impractical, so you're not really going to find a 50-round drum magazine at a crime scene.
Yeah, well, they sell them at several shows and stores.
They sell them, I guarantee you're not going to find them at any crime scene. A 50-round drum magazine.
No. We have found several, and I can send you the
go ahead and
evidence files.
I would like to see the evidence files because it really makes the gun unwieldy, and it makes it almost,
exactly.
It makes it almost useless.
Exactly.
So it's not
so the people who understand firearms get that. So I understand the balance and all of that, and then it's getting I get that. But so those 50-round drums, that's how I learned about them, because they are being found on crime scenes and in people's cars, heavily loaded. And so we have several crime scenes in Philadelphia, which you can find several articles where there was one shooter and 37 shell casings found on the scene. And then in the video footage, the guy is holding a handgun.
Did he hit anyone with it? Just out of curiosity.
Oh yeah, people getting hit. Yes, people getting hit every day here in Philadelphia.
No, but did he hit anybody with any of those?
Oh yes. That's when people getting hit like 7 to 10 times. No, I don't have any names. Okay, you can just look up the articles, but I'll send you.
Yeah,
I'll send you some. Yeah, I'll send you some links and then pictures of evidence files.
So you do believe in magazine limitations then?
It depends on the particular kind of gun.
How about
I don't believe that you need a 50-round clip on a handgun.
Okay.
And then be walking around saying that I have this to protect me. I don't think that.
But you would admit,
I don't think that makes sense.
You would admit that you don't really understand guns, though.
No. I understand guns. What I said was I don't really completely understand the full language yet. So certain terminologies I don't.
Okay. All right. Okay. Just wanted to clear that up because I thought you said that, but that's why I clear it up,
Yeah, got you. Okay.
I always want everything to be clear, and I don't want like a situation where someone misspeaks or something like that. Okay. So with that said, do you have anything else you want people to know about?
No, not really.
Are you?
I appreciate this.
Yeah. Are you going to continue to work with FOAC and other groups?
You said, am I going to continue to work with FOAC and other groups?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm willing to work with anybody as long as we're working on things, issues that are going to solve people's problems, right? Uh, so I don't not work with you because you're white, black, male, female, Democrat, Republican. I don't. That ain't how I do business. I I just want to solve problems, right? And if I could get access to a table or a room to be a part of a
Okay.
conversation to come up with solutions, that's what I'm for.
Okay. Well,
I'm not.
all right. Well, I think that's all I have for you. Thank you so much. And do I have permission to put this up on YouTube?
Yes, sir. Do you think?
All right. Thank you so much.
All
All
right,
right.
man.
All
Nice
right.
talking
All
to you.
right. Nice talking to you too. Bye. This is a fast moving story, and multiple things are going to change in it. I will keep you informed of any changes or any other interviews that I get. I would like to speak to Eagle Arms on the record and Josh Shapiro, AG of Pennsylvania, on the record. I doubt that the AG will speak to me, but Eagle Arms might. Thanks for watching, and remember, like, comment, and subscribe, and check out my other videos.